free. Broadcast the rhythm. Go live, Vegas on the screen, feeling the flow, so pristine. Boom, as the beats align, electric dreams, they intertwine.
Please repeat Nancy's Riot podcast about positivity, being strong, get survival, mental health, helping each other and overcoming life's challenges. Take go like a loud buckle, just to be a hurting. Hey. Chasing me is everything to the Lord alone. Hey. Hold that, don't make chase. I don't.
Man, Aaron, you killed it with that beat. We're live now. Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy Frago. Welcome to Nancy's Riot. Before I begin, I wanted to say thank you so much to everybody tuning in tonight and giving me your time. If there's one thing in life that is priceless, is time. So I cannot thank you just from the bottom of my heart how much it means to me that you've taken the time to tune in and spend the next hour with me. And I hope that I make it worth your time. And before I begin and say anything else, there is a few people I'd like to say thank you to. First, my friend Ray for lighting that match under my ass. Otherwise, I wouldn't be this far along and creating this. So thank you. Aaron and Raquel, without you, I wouldn't be here. I didn't think I'd hit my target of launching today. And because of you, I'm here speaking to everybody that is tuning in. And also to Richard, my photographer, who captured the shot that you are all seeing in my profile. Without any of them helping me, I would not be here tonight speaking to you. So with that said, I'm Nancy Frago. Welcome to Nancy's Riot. And before I begin, for anybody that doesn't know my story, I am a brain surgery survivor. I had brain surgery almost 5 years ago. May 25th will be 5 years. I have a piece of my brain missing the size of a quarter in the back left lobe, and I have a titanium plate with 16 screws. So if I make a mistake this evening, please forgive me. It's because I lost a piece of my mind. Not all of it, just a piece of it. Because I'm literally and figuratively speaking screwed back together. And on top of that, I had foot surgery 7 months ago. And I have a titanium plate in my right big toe now. So now they've worked on me from head to toe. So you should be laughing. I hope you are. But it's getting hot here. So I'm going to take off a couple layers. Oh, I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. This is out of my element. Normally my speeches are written. So I just read off whatever I've written. But this time around, for me, it's just better if I go off the cuff because I want you to receive the unedited, unscripted, raw Nancy, because this is what Nancy's Riot is about. So when I started creating the podcast and my message, I started asking people that know me very well if they could summarize what an experience with me having a conversation is like. Somebody said, "You're a riot." I had very many different titles from where I started and where I began and where I've ended. So I am a riot to have a conversation with, and I'm sorry about my bangs, but they're new, so they get in my face still. I'm not used to them. So as I was saying, I had brain surgery nearly 5 years ago, and at the same time, 4 months after my surgery, I left a short-lived marriage, which is the catalyst of why I'm here today. Although I had to lose a piece of me, I have found all of me through that process. And in the last 4 years, I've had so much profound growth as a human being and spiritually. And throughout my conversations in my career in speaking to people, there's one thing that I've realized that is missing: a safe landing for just honest, authentic conversations. And just recently, I had a gentleman for the very first time. I have over 500,000 conversations under my belt. And he opened up to me about the abuse he suffered through a woman he was married to. And I've never had a man open up to me in such a deep way. And it really touched me. And it let me know that I was on the right path of creating this podcast. And another thing that was a catalyst for me being here is I've been in therapy, and I lost a lot of memories from brain surgery that I had, and some memories that I did not remember returned. And I needed to put logic behind those emotions, and therapy has helped me do exactly that. And I think that another subject that's lacking for us to be open and vulnerable about it is mental health. Because I can honestly tell you, if it's not for the work that I've done on myself the last few years, there's no way I would be here having this conversation with you, because I would have lost that mental battle a long time ago. I live with chronic pain. I'd be lying to you if I told you I don't. I'm a brain surgery patient, and there's not one day that doesn't go by that I do not remember there's a piece of my brain missing, and that titanium plate and the 16 screws. So that is the reason why I'm here, is because I could have chosen for the world and my life experiences to harden me, but I choose the opposite. And we all have a choice in life on how we're going to move as human beings. And yes, I could sit here and tell you how miserable I am and what hurts, what doesn't hurt. But what is that going to do? Absolutely nothing. Nothing's going to change in my life. It is what it is. And some of us live with that reality. And I think too many of us don't talk about it. And I could tell you, being married and being able to open up about that short-lived marriage that I had, I was carrying so much shame up to that point in my life. And every time I speak about my story, I shed shame. And by doing so, I realized how much more powerful my story becomes because I can speak about it. And the more I speak about it and the more I share it with others, the more it impacts other people's lives, whether it's little things that I sprinkle through along the way of my wisdom and the lessons that I've learned through life. I've worn very many hats. I became pregnant at 15, gave birth at 16. By age 19, I was married as an army wife, and I had 2 children. By age 22, I lost my first child. And by age 29, I found myself rebuilding my life all over again. 20 years later, I found myself in that same situation. But I've chosen to not dwell in my lows, because my lows, they have been worth my highs. And the peace of mind that I now have, I will protect it with my life. And when my life was tested, which was May 25th, as I mentioned, I had made myself a promise that if I survived, I would live my life differently, more authentically. And I've been doing just that, because it's really me getting married to such an abusive person. When I was able to reflect and look back at how I could have chosen such an individual, it really made me look at myself and say, what is it about him that made me fall in love with him? And the one thing that I can tell you is that through as bad as it was, I would not trade it for anything in the world, because I love who I have become. And I wouldn't have been able to sit with my solitude prior to that. And I think so many times, many of us, we are scared to sit with that solitude and our stillness. And I can tell you that the last few years, I've been sitting with that stillness, because for the very first time in my life, I'm not responsible for anybody other than myself. And I've never known what that's like. And I know I'm not the only person out there who has other responsibilities, whether it's because you got pregnant at a young age, as I did, or you're taking care of family members that you weren't expecting to take care of at a young age or an older age. I don't think that you're necessarily prepared to be a parent regardless at what age. You just become prepared. Some people don't. So that is why I'm here today. And part of the reason why I joked about my brain surgery and foot surgery is because I have to make light of the situations, as I mentioned. Some days get really heavy, not going to lie, with pain. So in order for me to stay positive, I need to look at the things, the good in my life, my children, the people that make me happy. And I've learned along the way that we have to find those little things throughout our day that make us happy and bring us joy, whether it's a conversation or a smile from somebody or a kind gesture, or you doing a kind gesture for somebody else. And it's not so much about doing it when people are watching. It's more about doing it when you know that you're doing the right thing. That sometimes you might see somebody with their head down and you could simply walk up to them and say, is there anything I can help you with? And you never know how you might impact somebody's life. Because I can tell you there have been many times in my life where I either have been that person for somebody or somebody has been that person for me. And I think that that is one thing that we could all use more of in this life. And one of the things of me doing this podcast and me just speaking to you openly is being vulnerable. I still have a difficult time with that, if I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not someone who shows much emotion, and maybe to a degree, life has hardened me that way, but I do enjoy and love who I am. And I'm realizing that the only way for me to do this podcast and bring you authentic conversations that will make it a riot is for you to see who I am behind closed doors. And part of that is being vulnerable in front of you. And this will not always be a live episode. I do have pre-recorded episodes. And sometimes my health does get in the way. As much as I would love to make this an interactive episode every single week, because there will be an episode dropping every Tuesday thereafter, after today, I will promise you, and I am committed to maybe once a quarter to start off with, where we do a live episode and I interact with you, because I genuinely want to get to know my listeners. And I have a lot of wisdom to offer, because I truly feel that all the lows that I've had in my life and life lessons, if I do not share them with the world, I would be doing the world an injustice, because I feel that my life is a guide for others that might find themselves in a moment that I have found myself and did not find their courage or thought they did not have the resilience. Because I've learned, if there's one thing, is how resilient the human spirit is. It's just, how bad do you want it? And that's what it comes down to, because it's truly more of a mental battle, I think, for most of us. And as I mentioned, when I've sat in my stillness is when I have found myself. And I've never in my life encountered such a loud sound of silence. If you've never experienced it, I hope that even if it's for 30 seconds, a minute of your life at some point, that there is no other thoughts running in your mind other than just anything you want to think about. It hasn't been until recently that I've learned to do that. And it hasn't been easy, but again, I've had to sit with myself, my experience, my life. And if there's one gift that I could give to the world, is purpose. And also to touch on me becoming a teenage mom. As I mentioned, I was 15 when I became pregnant. She is now 35. or going to be 35. I have a 31-year-old son and a 23-year-old daughter. And there, I wasn't an easy mom. I was a military mom for the two oldest, and I ran the household like the military. And I also realized mistakes that I made as a parent. And I think sometimes when we raise kids as parents, we also carry a lot of shame, because when we've raised our kids and we reflect, and when kids become adults, they make their own decisions, and all we could do is hope that the lessons we taught them at home, that it follows with them and they make the right decisions. And one thing that I would always tell my kids is, before you do make a decision, good or bad, in your life, think about the good and the bad, because every decision in life has a consequence, good or bad, whether we realize it in that moment or not. So that is another aspect of my life that I will be opening up about. And I'm hoping that my kids will make a cameo and we can have an honest conversation of what it was like being raised by me, a teenage mom, because that also carried, I would say, baggage to a degree. I had a chip on my shoulder for many years because many people did not believe I was going to be successful in raising through kids as a teenage mom, and let alone me do anything with life. And I'm Hispanic. I was born in Guatemala. I came to the United States when I was 6 years old. I grew up in Thousand Oaks, California. And as I mentioned, I was married at 19, and I lived in a lot of different places that the military moved us around. I ended up in Las Vegas due to a military move. We were stationed here in 2000. He was scheduled to get out shortly after 9/11. That occurred, and that changed the trajectory of where we would live. And we finalized our divorce in 2004. So, and at the time I was 29, and as I mentioned, I had to rebuild my life again. It took me a couple years to embrace Las Vegas, and now I can tell you I cannot imagine myself living anywhere else. This is such a spectacular city, and although a lot of people think it's not a good place to raise children, it really is, because at the end of the day, what matters again is what you tell your kids at home, and you just hope that they embrace the lessons that you teach them and that they make the right decisions. I would joke with my children before they would leave to go somewhere, don't drink and drive because you might spill your drink. And I remember they would laugh about it, but it has stuck with them up until now. And I'm sorry that I'm looking down, but I am unlocking my phone and I'm just making sure that I touch on everything that I wanted to say. One other thing that we will be, now this podcast is going to be sprinkled with conversations of everyday people, powerful stories. And on top of that, we will be speaking to some comedians. I mean, all walks of life, politics included, because I launched this on Insurrection Day for a reason. I think that that day is engraved in our minds of what occurred 5 years ago. And if I can change the conversation and leave my mark in this world, is by doing this podcast. And for you guys to remember, and for it to be engraved in your spirit, that on January 6th, profound conversations began. Honest, vulnerable conversations. And this was a soft landing, which I did not have after brain surgery. And I wish I did. So if I could be that soft landing for others, then my life is serving its purpose and why I'm here today. And with that said, I'm going to open it up for some questions if you'd like to have conversations. If not, I will continue sharing more about myself. But you can call in the USA 702-329-6947, Canada 1-855-502-4321, or 587-997-3200. And if you are in the USA, 702-329-6947, call me. I'm waiting. Any questions, Aaron?
Oh, now you're putting it on the spot.
Yeah. Oh, you don't have it on. Told you guys this was live, so you're gonna hear me interact with him.
How are you?
Good.
Are you having fun?
I am.
So, what do you think of being in front of a camera and telling your story to the world?
I'm enjoying it. I'm a little, I think I mentioned to you before getting on camera, knots in my stomach because I've never done this before. Usually my speeches are scripted, so I'm going off the cuff. But I know that the more I do this, the more comfortable I will get.
But the knots are always a good thing. If you don't have those, then, why are you doing this?
Exactly. I would need to hang up, my speaking engagements.
Now, when you speak in public, like in a speaking engagement, what are you talking about? The same sort of thing? You're telling your story in front of a whole bunch of people, or?
I do. I speak about being pregnant, whether that I was a teenage mom. I speak about my journey of brain surgery. It just really depends on the subject that I'm being asked.
Okay. And what is the largest crowd you've ever spoken to?
Ooh, about 1,200?
Oh, wow. Was that here in Vegas, or?
Yes, they've all been here in Vegas. Hey, I got a text saying that the channel wasn't working.
The YouTube channel?
Maybe. Yeah, I've got some text.
Yeah, the YouTube channel isn't working yet. This will be uploaded to the YouTube channel. But if they want to watch you right now, they can watch you live on your Facebook page.
Oh, they can watch me on my Facebook page?
Yes, right now.
Okay. Okay, I think that they thought. Okay. So I guess, okay.
Technical difficulties.
Got it. No worries. Okay, because we thought we were going live on YouTube.
Well, unfortunately, we have to wait 24 hours before they'll allow you to go live on
we
YouTube.
do?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
good to know.
in 24 hours, you'll be able to go live on there, so.
Okay. Okay.
This is live, people. We are live.
Yeah. So, okay. So that means on Facebook we are live then.
Facebook, we are live.
Okay.
And you can go to TikTok and watch us on the Go Live Vegas channel.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do that.
On TikTok. Go Live Vegas.
Yeah. So, okay. So let me go.
What a TikTok. A little bit of feedback, guys. It has been very cold today.
I know. And you know what? I thought it was going to rain.
Really?
Yeah, because over on my end, my side of town, it appeared that there was clouds, so I thought I was going to hit some rain.
Uh-oh. Wouldn't it be cool if it snowed? Has it ever snowed here?
Yes, 08.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, December of 08, it did snow, and it actually stuck. And you would have seen people were just leaving their cars wherever you were driving. I remember my neighbors.
They didn't know how to drive in it.
No, because we're not used to it. We're used to sunshine. It's like, I think, even when it rains, it's like, don't go outside. It's raining.
It's like in 2017, it rained, snowed in South Texas, and my wife and I went for a drive till like 2 a.m.
Uh-huh.
And there were cars all over the place. In the ditch, stopped in the middle of the road. Like there was cars everywhere because they didn't know how to drive. We just took our time driving. So we were live streaming it because it was fun. So
okay. And how long ago was it that you moved out here to Vegas?
That was in 20. So this is 2017. So 2019 is when we moved here.
Oh, 20. Okay. Yeah. So, right after the shooting on the Strip.
Yeah.
Oh,
tell us about that. Weren't you a part of that?
I was. Hablo español, entonces les puedo decir en los dos lenguajes, inglés o en español. Ustedes pueden escoger. But yes, there was Hispanics working the concert. And so they needed translators, and I served as a translator for some of the shooting victims. I sat in therapy sessions, helped them get their items collected after the shooting. And so that was a very sad moment in the city. And that's actually when the Vegas Golden Knights actually arrived in Las Vegas as well. And in a way, they helped unite the city because it made us think of something else other than just the shooting and the lives that were lost on that night.
You have a couple of comments on our account on TikTok. Nancy, you're more an inspiration than a riot. Happy I stumbled across you. I will be back. Okay, there's one. That
Thank
was
you.
from Andy V.
They'll find out why I'm a riot. We just got to talk some more.
So why are you a riot? Explain that one.
Explain that one. Okay. So, when, as I mentioned to you, when I started playing with words, it started with tantalizing talks. That was one of the names I was playing with. But then if it doesn't flow off my tongue when I'm speaking, I can't, there's no point in me even trying to say it because it's just not going to land correctly because I have to feel my words. And I like to know people's minds when I'm speaking, and I want them to get to know my mind. So as I was playing with the words, somebody that knows me very, very well, all sides of Nancy, I called her and I asked her, I said, hey, if you had to sum it up, what it's like to have a conversation with me, what would it be? And she said, you're an effing riot. I'm like, okay. I said, you know what? That's the name. And it flows because I am a riot to have a conversation with. There's not very many subjects I can't speak on. And the ones I can't speak on, I'll tell you I can't speak on. And the way I tell you, I mean, it could be a riot. I'm just a riot to have a conversation with.
I guess we can't add the F in him. That wouldn't be good.
We could.
Yeah, we could.
We could. Hey, if the president says it, why can't I?
Good point. Good point.
Rito, I don't know why I'm restricted.
Now, when I was putting this together for your show, I had stumbled across a picture of you getting an award, I think, with the Red Cross.
Yes.
What was that about?
So I served on the board of directors for the Red Cross. I've served three 3-year terms. And, oh my gosh, I have so many awards from them. I'm trying to think so that award was for joining the Clarity Society. It might have been the Tiffany Circle. So I'm the founder of the Tiffany Circle, the chapter here in Nevada, which is a society of women leaders. So the reason why you saw me put out the bracelet is we were telling our guest about their donation and how it helped and what we were doing. And I was also telling them about the Tiffany Circle and the work that we did. And that bracelet for every Tiffany Circle member, it's custom made and it represents that you're part of that society. Thank you, Silvana. Thank you for commenting. And thank you so much, you guys, for taking the time to spend this time with me and watch me.
Does she want to call in?
Yeah, Silvana, if you'd like to call in, 702-329-6947. Or if you want it for free, 1-855-502-4321.
Well, it's all free, just so you know.
It's all free, yeah. But the 800 number.
1-900. No, just kidding.
No, 900? Yeah, no.
$1.99 a minute.
Then I'd have to change my voice.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, 1-900.
She's funny. So do you tell jokes when you talk about your story, or is it very serious, or like when you're doing these presentations? Is it
I
more
try to joke because really who I am behind closed doors, I'm a clown. I joke around a lot. I may seem serious, but behind the scenes, I'm more laid back than people would even imagine. I don't need alcohol to have a good time either. It's wherever we're at, I'll bring the party. I just need to get into my groove and let loose, and then I find my rhythm. And once I find that rhythm, anybody watching on Facebook that knows me, Solana, you can comment if you'd like and be honest. But I'm a lot of fun to be around. I'm a riot.
And what's the message? What's the ultimate goal?
Well, the ultimate goal is for us to create more unity than division. There's way too much division in our country and in the world at this very moment. And we certainly are not having human to human interactions, because if you're face to face, a lot of the time it's like, well, what are you? Sadly, politics is bleeding into everyday life. It does into mine. There's people that have removed themselves because I'm a Democrat, but they never really bother to ask what my opinions are on that. You know, for example, I don't shy away from this. Although I'm a registered Democrat, I'm pro-life. I could not have aborted any of my children, but I've yet to speak to a woman that doesn't live with that regret, who hasn't had an abortion. Now, obviously there's different stories, but I don't believe that the government should be involved in a woman's body. I cannot imagine being at that stage where I'm raising small children, or I have found myself pregnant in this day and age because of everything that's going on. And part of the reason why I genuinely, so I've got to tell you, Trump reminds me of my abusive ex-husband that I left 4 months after brain surgery. The only difference between the two is the one I was married to doesn't have the power than the one that's in office. Personality-wise, they are equally as evil. And I recognize that evil by looking at it. And I've never gone in depth in any of my speeches of the hell that man put me through. But if you guys only knew the depth of the evil that he has in his heart, it would blow your mind. And I see that same type of evil in Trump. If it walks like a duck, it's a duck. And that man is evil. I don't care if you support him. It comes down to being a human being. And he has absolutely no effing decency. And that is what's sad. And unfortunately, too many people have fallen into the trap. And too many of you that still support him, you carry shame. Some of you I know personally, and I know the shame that you carry. And really part of me doing this podcast is because at this point, I've survived. I had a plan for my death. So dying doesn't scare me. I know what that's like. There's not much that doesn't scare me in this life. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is just my reality. And brain surgery put me in that spot. And I know how much shame the human spirit carries, and how much shame and how hard it is to be open and vulnerable about that shame that you carry in your life on so many different levels. But if there's one message that I want for not just the United States, but the world, is for us to finally unite and to cut that evil out. Because what's going on in the world, it isn't right. I can tell you that as a humanitarian. And right now I wasn't expecting to share this story today, but I'm going to do it. So when I was in Africa with another charity a few years back, towards the end of the trip, it got heavy after seeing everything that I was seeing. And the people in Africa are so beautiful. Their spirit is so resilient. And the human spirit is just resilient, period. But towards the end of the trip, I was sitting in the van, and I remember the driver asking me to paint the picture of what it would be like to visit Las Vegas. So I said to him, why don't you just come? One of us will certainly host you. And he said, I'm never going to make it. So the only way I can find out what Las Vegas is like is for you to tell me through your words. So I began to tell him about the lights, what he would see, and just what flying into Vegas and being in Las Vegas was like. And in that moment, I realized I couldn't tell him that he also would be breathing fresh air. He wouldn't be smelling anything. Didn't matter where we went in Africa, there was a smell that followed. And if you've ever been to New Orleans, think of New Orleans on steroids, I guess is a good way to put it. You smell a lot of things. anyhow, I remember it was the 4th of July and I was sitting watching the fireworks on the strip and just thinking to myself how beautiful it was. But in that moment, I realized also that I couldn't smell anything. I was breathing fresh air, something that's free to all of us. And I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but to me, that was a moment because I'd never been in a situation where I didn't think what it would be like to not breathe fresh air until I was in that situation. And I know that I have found myself so many times thinking that if something occurred, I would react one way and I react completely different. And it's just, it's wild, but now I've become so prepared and I'm pretty disciplined with my life. So yeah, it's just the stories that I hear, when people are vulnerable and they can't see you, it just seems like those conversations can be more vulnerable and open, and we can touch each other on a more spiritual level. Because, like I said, it's certainly missing at this point. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
So, just another question. You do a lot of volunteer work, right?
I do.
So, what do you volunteer for? Other than the Red Cross, which I think is pretty noble of you.
Right. I've served on chamber boards. I've served on another board where they house pregnant homeless teenage girls. I've worked with the homeless youth. As I mentioned, I've been to Africa to do humanitarian work, worked with an orphanage, women who had been sexually assaulted, women with AIDS. So my background is pretty broad. When the earthquake happened in Haiti, over a decade ago, I was planning to go to that. But because of certain situations and safety reasons, I couldn't do it. We were planning to go back to Africa, and then Ebola happened. And then obviously COVID occurred, and then I've had brain surgery. So I've been limited to what I could do. I've had to cut back on my charitable work, but I've still been involved. And I'm also into politics. I've worked on campaigns, everything from city council to presidential. The only one I've not worked on is a gubernatorial campaign. So I have and I was a military wife, so I know the sacrifice of the military. And it really breaks my heart of what's going on, because someone who's never served or has sacrificed anything for our nation is willing to send our troops into battle. And have married to somebody in the Army and knowing that I hardly saw him because he was constantly training. And is it a noble cause? Yes. But at least personally, I don't think it's worth the sacrifice. We lost a child in 1999, and I can tell you the United States Army has had absolutely no empathy for us. They did not want to bring him home for us to grieve the loss of the child. So what the Red Cross is, who stepped in, they have a representative on military bases, and they got permission for the United States. He had just been deployed 30 days prior to allow him to come home, and they paid for it for us to grieve. And right after is when I told him, if you want to stay in, knock yourself out, but I'm done with military life. Then 9/11 happened, and that's when they put a hold on all military personnel, and we had to stay here 2 more years. And he finished out his time at Nellis Air Force Base. And as I mentioned earlier, we divorced in 2004, and Vegas has been home since 2000. I lived in Henderson. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's, I don't know what to say. That's, it's a lot in a lifetime, really quickly.
It is. I've had to grow up really fast, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I honestly cannot imagine myself having little kids at home right now. I love being alone. I have finally, like I mentioned earlier, found my peace and peace of mind. And there's a difference. I don't think that people realize you can have peace, but if you don't have peace of mind, you truly don't know what peace is.
I've always heard that once you reach 50, you actually start to find yourself. I don't know if that's true, but maybe there's some truth to it.
I know I felt my melody, but I now have my rhythm of life. I always knew I'm somebody who I've always felt my way through life, is the best way I can describe it. And so that's why when I say I felt my melody, that's the reason why I say that. But my rhythm, I now found it because I now know discernment. Before, if there was something that was put in front of me that was supposed to be a lesson, sometimes I would dismiss it because I wanted to do the temptation. And so many of us as humans are tempted. So that temptation makes us sometimes act in that moment. So I've learned to sit with myself in my stillness and my emotion versus reacting. Although I'm not perfect, I will still react sometime, and I have no problems ripping somebody a new one, which I do from time to time. But that's something that I don't have that short fuse. I think about what I'm going to say more, although sometimes I still don't control myself, but I've gotten better at removing myself before I say the wrong thing and just becoming more of a gentler human being.
So what's your motivation? How do you get up every day? How do you do this? This is crazy. I mean, for me, I would sit there probably being a lump at home and not wanting to get out of bed and thinking life sucks. And here you are getting up every day, pain every day, and pushing through it and doing what you do.
I have my moments. You know, the foot to some degree has been a little harder to recover from because it's made me sit still. I've been forced to sit still. Even though my brain, I could move around, except when I lost my vision, and that's a whole different story, because brain surgery alone is a journey in itself, just the recovery process. I'm still recovering. I'm still not at 100%, even though I might sound like it, look like it. But to answer your question, the best way I can describe, and I think I talked about this on Sunday, is in the mornings, I really have to practice gratitude. If there's one thing that brain surgery has forced me to do is thank you, Carrie. And I know what a strong cookie you are. We've shared a lot. Every day I have to practice gratitude. And the one thing that I'm doing that I never used to do, didn't know I should do it, is to love myself. And for the very first time a couple weeks ago, and I told Raquel, I think it was last week, I actually kissed my hand. I never knew what my lips felt like. And when I actually kissed my hand, I felt my gentleness. And I fell in love with myself deeper. And if there's one thing that I've learned is being married to, I call him my tormentor because something that I've not opened up about is up until last year, he was still stalking me. And he's remarried. And that could be another episode in itself. But he has not stopped from leaving me alone, even though we've been divorced for over 3 years. But being married to him, and when I was able to reflect, and when I asked myself, what is it about him that made me fall in love with him? I realized that he was mirroring me, and I fell in love with myself. His kindness, the soft side of him that he was showing me, that was all me. And I think a lot of the time we miss those things in the signs that people show us. And I've learned to truly love myself and be gentle with myself. And in the mornings, I practice gratitude. I practice gratitude throughout the day because if I allow my mind to wander and concentrate on the pain that I do have, whether it's in my head and somewhere in my body, again, I'm going to lose that mental battle. And it is a choice. how we're going to live our lives and how we're going to move in this life and what mark we want to leave on people's lives. And I'm sure I'm not going to leave a positive mark on everyone, because not everybody that I've encountered has liked me, nor have I liked them. And I know that I've had my moments where I haven't been the kindest person. And am I always going to change that about me? No, but I'm always going to try to be a better person. All I know is I try to be kind to everybody. Do I always get it right? No. And the only thing I can do is continue to work on myself to become a better person. And I think that we could all do that and put a lot of our differences aside and just be able to change things by, again, having that human to human interaction and having conversations, vulnerable, honest conversations versus surface level. Because there's way too many surface level conversations. And I think social media is a part of that issue, because what we post makes people think that you know the person, or it makes you want that person's life, but you don't truly know what storms they're battling behind that screen.
Wow. Deep. I bet you have many more stories to come up with and tell us.
I do.
Like that Africa one would sound kind of cool. I would love to hear that one of these days.
I have a lot of Africa stories. Yeah, Africa was a life-changing trip. And it was just how appreciative the people were when they had so little. And I'd never met people with such gratitude. And the country's beautiful. Food was phenomenal. And it was just a life-changing trip. And I actually wanted to leave. I didn't think I could handle it once we got there. And I tried to leave and book a flight out. But I remember the day we landed, it was storming, and I couldn't connect onto the internet to book a flight. Because at the time, the airline only flew out, I believe, Wednesdays and Saturdays. And I was trying to book a flight out, but I couldn't connect. So I just remember telling myself, screw it, I've got to suck it up. I'm here for a reason. And I'm so glad that I did spend that time there, because had I not done that, I wouldn't have the beautiful memories, the conversations, and the interactions that I had with the people there, because they were truly life-changing. And I wish that kids in high school in the United States were forced to go spend time in a third world country, or Africa or other countries, to do work, because it really changes you. And we actually took girls to Africa that were high risk of teenage pregnancy, gang violence, drugs, and whatnot. And some of them could be on Facebook because they follow me. And now all the ladies, at least the ones that I'm in contact with, are beautiful, young, successful women. So it does change people when you expose kids to such things. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you believe you've done 50 minutes already?
Have I?
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh my gosh.
This time has just flown right by.
It has. Oh my gosh.
So what stories, or what are you projecting in the future of Nancy's Riot? What are you planning on doing? What's upcoming?
So there is pre-recorded episodes, and initially, rather than doing this live, I was going to air the pre-recorded episode of the person who named me the Riot. And as I mentioned earlier, she knows me very well. And if there's anyone that can explain it in such an eloquent, straightforward, but yet funny way, capturing the message.
I have to laugh because I did see the video of it. So
the what?
I saw the video. I have to laugh.
Oh, you saw it, right? Okay. Okay.
I'm editing it, so.
You're editing it. Yes. Okay. So you see why it's a riot, right? Watching us interact. Yeah. So the next episode is going to be the lady who named me, and you're going to see why we are a riot. She named me the Riot because she brings that riot out outing me, and it is hilarious. And you guys are going to get a completely different side of me interacting with her. Wouldn't you agree, Aaron?
Sorry?
Wouldn't you agree that
Oh, yeah,
the way her and I
absolutely.
interact, it's
Absolutely.
night and day, right? Versus what they're seeing
that
now.
podcast would have gone for another hour or two.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that she can make a cameo or that she'll come on the studio and we can do it live together, because the two of us, we're salt and pepper, and
I like that.
we fit. Even though the exterior is night and day, the interior, the way our minds are in sync, our spirits speak to each other. She knows my soul, I know her soul, and I know what an incredible woman she is. So that's going to be my next episode. You can also expect some authors. I will be having politicians. I have Helene. If you're watching this, I know you might be in Mexico already, running across Mexico. Helene Neville. If you guys do not know who she is, go check her out. She's got books out. She's ran the entire United States. She's a phenomenal lady, cancer survivor. So Helene, I will have athletes, business people. So it's going to be sprinkled with a little bit of everything. I also will be having a couple of, I'm not going to tell you who these two guests are, because I'd rather they be a surprise. But these conversations are going to be sprinkled with a little bit of everything. But what I can tell you is each one is going to have, you're either going to learn, period, out of all the conversations. You're going to walk away with wisdom. You're going to walk away with a smile on your face. And you're certainly going to, the knowledge that you're going to gain whenever you tune in, and from the bits and pieces that you're going to hear from the different guests. Everything is to teach you. And I want also some of this to be interactive as well, where I'd like to answer some questions. I want to get to know my listeners. I want to get to know your minds, and I want you to get to know mine, because I think it is that time for us to open up and have vulnerable human-to-human interactions and learn to put those walls down and just be vulnerable. Because I could tell you, the more I do this right now, I was really nervous doing this again, but I'm feeling more comfortable, and you're going to learn my rhythm. I want to learn yours, and I want to interact with you more, because again, I want to know more about you. And I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart for all of you that have tuned in and have taken the time to spend 1 hour of your time with me just to listen to me and hear part of my story. Thank you. Because again, time is something that money cannot buy. So I thank you for your time.
Well, you're looking pretty chill now. Mighty relaxed.
Yeah, I'm more relaxed now.
Is that because now you're getting used to this?
I'm getting used to it. And I think also the fact that I have you asking me questions, because there's a calmness about you too. And if you guys do not know Aaron, we follow each other on Facebook, go follow him. Him and his wife they offer top tier service. Again, if it was not for him, I wouldn't be doing this right now. And he has been God sent. And I'll tell you guys real quick before we cut this short, Leslie. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you for tuning in. Aaron was literally God sent. We connected right after Christmas.
Yeah, around there, yeah.
Yeah, around there. And we have been working so hard behind the scenes to make all this happen. The banner that you see behind me, that is his work. That is his art. The profile picture with Nancy's Riot, that's Richard Johnson. I cannot thank you from the bottom of my heart how much it meant to me for you to do that shoot. You captured the shot, and without you, again,
The cool music you got now?
oh my God, that beat, you killed it, Aaron. You killed it. Can you want to play it real quick?
It's our outro anyway, so
Yeah.
it's perfect.
It's dope. When you sent it to me last night, because we were going back and forth, It was kind of cool because this is my first time putting a podcast together. So it's kind of cool, the creative process, just to learn his art, the way that he works. And it just works. It's a perfect team. It's a perfect setup. And I look so forward to doing this type of things with you guys and interacting with you and taking questions. And next time we're going to be only on YouTube, right?
Not only, we're going to be everywhere.
Okay, we're going to be everywhere? Okay,
Yeah,
but we'll be live on
all
YouTube.
Platforms. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter,
Okay.
Twitch, Instagram, Facebook Live, TikTok.
Okay. And you know what? Since I'm here and honestly, I'm really comfortable right now, I'm in my groove, why don't you type in the chat or call the numbers if you want and tell me what you prefer. Do you guys want... So USA 702-329-6947. If you want to ask me a question, Canada 587-997-3200 or international 1-855-502-4329, or type it in the chat. If you guys want me to do more of this live episodes, I'm not always going to be doing them. Like I mentioned, they are pre-recorded. I already have quite a bit actually footage. But if you would like this once a month, I could try to do it once a month. I can't guarantee that I can do it once a month, but I will certainly try to do it where they're not pre-recorded. Otherwise, and that way we can interact and get to know each other and have more in-depth conversations. And like I said, let's start that human-to-human interaction and just uniting again as humans and put all the BS aside. Because politics is always going to be around, but humanity isn't. And again, time is so precious, and that's the one thing that we will never get back. So make the best of it.
Come on, we have 4 minutes left.
4
Come on,
minutes?
somebody,
Okay, so-
somebody can call in.
Somebody can call in or put it in the chat. Like I said, if you guys would rather have more of these live episodes to interact with me, or if you, again, you're still going to get pre-recorded, but how often you would like to see these interactive episodes.
Yeah, but the pre-recorded stuff, that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, it is. People will be able to go back and watch it.
Yes, this will be uploaded after as well on YouTube, so they can watch it as well.
And that is my handle on YouTube is Nancy's Riot, capital N, capital R, no apostrophe, just all consecutive letters, Nancy's Riot on YouTube. So this episode will be uploaded on there, and there will be an episode dropping every Tuesday thereafter. And I know you better not forget what date this launched, because we know what happened 5 years ago. So Nancy's Riot is now what's dropped on the 6th.
Oh, what? Do tell. What happened 5 years ago?
Insurrection Day. I don't think any of us will ever forget that day. It's kind of like a 9/11.
Now, really quickly,
Yes.
I know you only have a couple of minutes left, but it's kind of like 9/11. It's one of those days where you knew exactly where you were and what you were doing when that happened.
Yes.
And what were you doing? Where were you?
So I was still married to my tormentor. And I remember walking into the room, and I was preparing for brain surgery because I already knew when brain surgery was going to be. And I remember walking into the room, and he was staring at the TV, and I stopped and I started staring, watching the insurrection happen. It blew my mind of what I was witnessing. I just couldn't believe it. And I just remember also being scared to a degree because it was so unsettling that a former president would do that. And because our country has been respected for so long, and just seeing that people would actually take the time to do such evil. And I know that there's evil in this world, but just in the masses. And it truly blew my mind. And as a military family, I can tell you that everything that's going on in this world, our sacrifice was not for this. This is not what we sacrificed a child, and so many other things, which I will get into what military life is like, because it's not everything it's cracked up to be. Because again, it is a noble cause, but it is not worth the sacrifice of your life, of our servicemen and women being sent into battle for unnecessary causes and needs, for that matter. It's one thing to protect us, and that's what our tax dollars go, but it's another thing to send our men and women into battle when it's unnecessary, and especially when it's somebody who has absolutely no regard for life doing it. And again, it's a noble cause, but the sacrifice is not worth it because they don't even get paid enough. And they're, in my opinion, we do not get taken care of the way that we should have. A lot of things are promised, but very little is delivered.
We have less than a minute left, and we have a great show comment on TikTok from Raquel.
And what is the comment?
She says, great show.
Oh, thank you, Raquel. I appreciate it. And remember, guys, every Tuesday, a new episode will be dropping going forward. And I look forward to being behind the mic and getting to know you guys. And again, I want to know your spirit because I want you to know mine. And again, thank you for tuning in. For everyone who watched, commented, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to be with me this evening. Have a great night.